Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for Detour 38. And this is Into the Breach. This is an RPG strategy game and roguelite made by the creators of FTL. And it is not FTL. It's not a sequel to FTL. It is a different game. And we're going to have a quick look at it. So I'm going to start a new game, overwriting my current one. And I've played this a little bit, so I have unlocked a couple of things. You start out with this squad, so we're going to start with that. And you have 3 mechs in your squad, and they have a variety of weapons and potentially abilities. You can see some of the things that I have achieved here. You have a time traveler, which is a pilot that you have with you, and you can unlock more apparently. I haven't unlocked any. And we're just going to start the game and we're going to see what it's about. So it's a turn-based strategy game. And you are traveling back in time to prevent the takeover by an alien species, or a species of creatures called the Vec. And the game kind of froze on me there for a little, or locked up for a little bit. So we're going to start up with the first island. I'm not going to read any of that. And you have these areas that you go through. And they have different bonus objectives. And these are procedurally generated, of course. Your main objective is to protect the civilians in the regions, which are related to your power grid, which, if this goes out, these are your lives pretty much. If these run out, you lose. Grid defense is how the chance that when a Vec attacks a building, that it will resist. And you can increase this in various ways. Reactor cores you gain sometimes, and they are used to, you apply them to your mechs, so you can install a power core, and then you have different upgrades, and you can have various weapons here that use them. Like, for example, to activate this ability dash, I need 2 power. And I currently only have the 1 power, which I'm using to power the main weapon. And you can test your mech in a kind of a sandbox where you can just attack enemies that don't do anything to try out abilities and such. And I would recommend doing that if you play this, because as I found out, I installed a new weapon that I unlocked, or that I gained on a mech. That was an ice beam or frost beam or something like that. And because I had limited power, I replaced the main weapon of that mech with it. And then on the first region I tried it out in, I found out that it was single use for every mission. So that mech became useless after I'd used it. So I should probably have tried it out in the simulation first. But let's get into one of these. So in this one we have defend the tanks, so we're going to go with that one. It means we have 2 old tanks here that may activate. Yeah, they will activate after a few turns, and we can then use them to fight the Vec. So first we get to choose where to deploy. I'm going to go with this. And these are the Vec. They have different types. These are fireflies that they fire a projectile in a straight line that will hit something. And this game is very interesting. The main strategy revolves around moving enemies around. So that's the enemy turn. And what they've done is they've positioned themselves and chosen a target to attack. So these two are attacking this tank. And this one is attacking my mech. And then 2 Vec will appear in these locations the next turn after my turn. And they will get to move. So this tank will die unless I stop these two. Now I don't need to kill them. What I can do is I can reposition them generally by attacking them. So I can also block their shots using my mechs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this mech here, and I'm going to attack this Vec. I'm going to do 2 damage, which is not enough to kill it, but it is going to push it to this tile, and its attack is then going to hit this mountain, which is fine. I don't care about the mountains unless they are protecting something. Like in this case, for example, if it wasn't for this mountain, this attack would hit this building instead. But it's fine currently because the mountain is in the way, and the mountains can take a couple of hits, or 1 hit, and then the next they are destroyed. This forest fire here is something you want to avoid or push enemies into. So now there's a bit of a dilemma. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 1 damage there. I can't fire here because this attack would damage these buildings. Unless I have an ability that this mech can unlock, which makes buildings immune to its attack, then I could have struck the building and pushed this Vec to this tile. But currently I can't do that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to move this tank here, which is also called a mech, and I'm going to do a damage to this Vec. And I am going to be hit, but I'm going to spare this tank for now. And I'm also going to block the spawning but I'm going to take a damage instead. So let's end our turn there because we have moved a lot of units and performed all of our actions. So now this mech is close to dying, which is of course bad. We got 1 more Vec to deal with, 1 more enemy. We have another one spawning there, and we have another one spawning here. I can't take any more damage with this or it will die, which is bad. Still don't have control over these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tank to take out this Vec. And I'm going to use this to take out this one. And then I'm going to use this one. I'm going to put this in the path of this Vec to protect the tank. But then I'm going to... Actually, that is perhaps not a good idea. So here is where it becomes tricky. I have limited options and have to choose a path that may result in taking damage. I can't avoid taking damage. If I let that Vec attack the building, it may resist the damage. I think if I attack it and push it into the buildings, it may also... I don't know if it's guaranteed to damage the buildings or if they can also resist. I think they can. It would make sense if they could resist then. But I think what I should do is attack and kill this one. So my attack will do 2 damage to it, and then pushing it into the mountain will do another damage, which will do 3 total, which will kill it. And then I'm going to hope that this attack is resisted. And it wasn't. Dang. So I lost some power there. These are a bit annoying. They give health to the other... Wait, what? That doesn't actually... That didn't do any damage. Why? Oh, they probably only push. Right. Let's undo that bit. So I'm going to push that onto there. So I'm going to use that Vec to block one of the other ones. And it's going to block that spawning and take a damage as a result. And what I could attack it now and do damage, but I'm going to repair my mech instead and gain a health point to avoid it being killed. Now, when a mech reaches 0 health, the pilot dies and the mech becomes disabled through the rest of this mission. You can use it in the next mission, however, and you can use mechs without pilots, as I've found out. But having a pilot is better because they don't gain experience otherwise. So there's 1 turn left, so I just need to hold off for this turn. And there isn't really much to do. I can kill this thing, push that tank. You have to be careful about pushing your tanks, your own units, into each other or into buildings. And this mech is, or this Vec is going to retreat after this turn, so I don't need to kill it. Sometimes you get a bonus objective, which is kill a certain number of enemies, or kill a certain enemy. But I don't have that right now, so it doesn't matter. Taking 1 damage is... 1 grid damage, that is unfortunate, but sometimes unavoidable. I did protect the tanks, though, so I got to corporate reputation, which you will accumulate and spend later. Now, you'll see that's what these stars are. Now, you see here that we have a star and a lightning bolt. And the star means corporate reputation. And the lightning bolt means that if we succeed with that bonus objective, protect the power generator, we will gain a grid power, which is basically gaining a health. and it may also allow us to do other things. So these regions are locked currently. We need to do this one to take on the rest, which is generally how the islands play out. You get a limited number of regions at first, and then you gain access to more of them as time goes on. So here we have a new enemy type. It's a scarab type thing. I think that will do. And they do a ranged lobbing attack, as you can see. They also have a firebug, firefly. So unfortunately, I can't really attack that one from here. And this is kind of useless at the moment because it can only attack in a straight line. But as you can see, it does 2 damage to 2 separate tiles, which is useful. But it can't do anything right now. What I need to do is I need to move this here, and I'm going to fire here. I'm going to set this forest on fire. I'm going to push this scarab into the water here, which will kill it, and I'm going to push this firefly so it doesn't attack this grid. Your mechs can go in the water, but they will not be able to attack when they are in the water. Pretty straightforward as far as... Ooh. I do not want to stand in that fire. But I don't want to attack the scarab from here because it will push it into these buildings. So I'm going to move here so I get some rain. Actually, you can undo moves as much as you want as long as you haven't performed an action yet. Then your turn, or that unit's turn, ends. I'm going to put that there so I get the most range possible. That is going to miss, of course. It's not going to do anything, so that's fine. Get a warning that these two have an action available, but I can't really do anything with that. Poof. Let's just end the turn. Then we'll have 2 more enemies appearing here. Two flying ones. Okay, that's annoying. That's even more annoying. Okay. I definitely want to protect that. That can't take any damage or it will be destroyed. I need to deal with those. I can take that one out with this. That's probably the best option. And then I can push that one with this. Of course, the flying enemies don't die in the water. I think they die if you push them into it. But if they move, they can move onto it by themselves. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. Now this is going to result in 1 damage to this mech, but it's not going to... they're not going to damage anything else. So that we'll have to do. It's a little bit like chess, this, because we have pieces, and they have certain pieces have attack paths. So, for example, in this case, if I were to move this cannon mech, they would be able to damage these buildings here, unless I kill it, of course. Which I'm going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move you there, and I'm going to kill you, which takes care of that. And then I can push you. Okay, they don't die when you push them. Flying enemies, okay. I can kill you. And these guys aren't actually really attacking anything anymore. But I'm going to kill this one with 8 damage, so I get rid of it. Although it was... Actually, I don't know if that force was on fire until I just shot it. But okay. So, yeah. We have 2 turns left, so there's 1 more turn. And then... well, yeah. There's 2 more turns we need to survive. Which should be definitely doable. So here we have a bit of an issue, because if I attack this enemy and push it here, it's going to attack this grid. This can't do anything because the enemy there is too close. And it can't attack this one because it's out of range. What I can do, though... I can move that there and push that enemy there. I don't need to kill the enemies, so I'm just going to move that out of the way, move that out of the way, and do a damage there because I can. And then their attacks are going to miss everything. And then we win. They retreat. And we got a perfect mission, pretty much. Got both of the bonus objectives, and we protected all of the grids, all of the buildings. And then we unlocked 2 more regions. And that's pretty much the game. Certain areas can have special things happening in them. There can be objects appearing that do certain things, like pods that if you recover them without them being stomped by a mech, you gain something, like a reactor core. And I would definitely recommend this game if you like very, very, very strategic games, and if you don't mind imperfect missions, because there are going to be missions where you put yourself in a situation by accident or by chance where you have to make a sacrifice, either sacrifice a mech because you only have a mech with 1 health left that can block a shot, or take damage to a grid, because those are the only options. There is no way to always avoid any damage. So I'm going to end the video here, and I may do a let's play of this at some point. Perhaps I could imagine doing that. But until then, I will see you in the next video.